Namaste, I am Anushka, a 24-year-old girl from a small village in India. Today I want to share my story with you. A story of struggles, faith, self-belief, and the beautiful journey of becoming fluent in English. I know what you're thinking, English. From a village girl. Yes, it wasn't easy. But I had a dream, and that dream was bigger than the challenges that came my way. This is not just a story about learning a language. It's about finding myself, connecting with God, and overcoming doubts that almost broke me. My parents wanted me to get married, but I begged for 1 year to prove I could become fluent in English. I promised myself that I would change my life, and today I want to tell you how I did it. So sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey filled with emotions, faith, challenges, and a few laughs. And while facing pressure from relatives and dealing with loneliness, I found strength in my faith, reading the Bhagavad Gita, and connecting with God through prayer. This journey isn't just about my life. It's about the incredible power of listening. You see, listening is key to improving your English and understanding life experiences. So don't skip this video. If you do, you'll miss out on valuable lessons that could change your life. Join me as I share funny, emotional, and motivational stories. And let's discover together how listening can truly transform our lives. Chapter 1. The Village Pressure. I grew up in a small village where dreams were as limited as the village boundaries. At 24, everyone expected me to get married. It wasn't because I wanted to, but because that's what girls do. My relatives, well, let's just say they weren't the nicest people. They kept telling my parents, "Why are you letting her waste her time? Marry her off before it's too late." But I wasn't ready. I wanted more. I wanted to learn English, to do something bigger than just sit in the kitchen making chapatis all day. And you know what? My parents supported me. They gave me 1 year. But it wasn't just my relatives who pressured me. My friends too were getting married, and I often felt like I was the only one left behind. In the evenings, I would see my friends laughing and chatting with their husbands or fiancés, while I sat alone in my room, dreaming of a different future. Chapter 2. The Relatives and the Doubts. Relatives can be a blessing, but mine, boy, they were a nightmare. I couldn't count the number of times they visited, only to gossip about how I was ruining the family's honor. Every conversation was a hit to my confidence. She doesn't even know how to speak English. How will she ever do anything? They would say. It wasn't easy to hear these things, and I'll be honest, I was frustrated. There were nights when I would cry, feeling worthless. But deep down I believed in myself. I knew this wasn't the end of my story. I just had to keep going. Chapter 3. The Gita and the Gods. In my darkest moments, when I felt like I couldn't take the pressure anymore, I turned to something much more powerful, the Bhagavad Gita. And not just in Hindi. I started reading it in English. You see, I realized that learning English didn't just mean grammar and vocabulary. It was about changing the way I think, the way I see the world. The Gita taught me life lessons that I could apply every day. It's not just a religious book. It's a guide to life. Reading about Lord Krishna, I found strength in his words. The concept of detachment from results gave me peace. Krishna's teachings were like a mentor whispering in my ear. Do your best, Anushka, and leave the rest to me. And that's what I did. I also visited the temple every morning, offering prayers to Lord Shiva, pouring water on the shivling, and asking him for guidance. It wasn't about asking for miracles. It was about asking for strength. I would stand there, feeling the cool breeze, and silently talk to God. Sometimes I would ask, "Why is it so hard?" And though I never got a direct answer, I always left feeling a little lighter, as if someone was listening. Chapter 4. Breaking Bad Habits. Now I had a bad habit, a habit many of us have, scrolling reels on Instagram for hours. Oh yes, I was a certified reel addict. Hours would go by, and I wouldn't even realize it. One day, after watching yet another dance reel, I asked myself, "What am I doing?" I realized that if I wanted to change my life, I had to change my habits. So I deleted the app. I replaced my screen time with reading and practicing English. Instead of watching reels, I started watching English movies with subtitles, repeating lines out loud to improve my accent. At first, it felt strange talking to myself, but slowly I could see the improvement. My tongue loosened up, and my confidence started growing. Chapter 5. Finding a new routine. Life started to change when I began focusing on myself. Every morning I would wake up early, roll out my yoga mat, and practice yoga. Yoga wasn't just about stretching my body. It was about calming my mind. After my yoga, I would sit down to meditate, offering my day to Lord Krishna. I would say, "Krishna, I don't know where this journey will take me, but I trust you." After yoga, it was time for breakfast. Dal chawal was my favorite, and I cooked it every day. Cooking gave me a sense of peace, a feeling of being grounded. As the aroma of spices filled the kitchen, I felt a sense of accomplishment. Some days I'd cook for my family, and other days I'd eat alone. Eating alone didn't feel lonely anymore. It felt empowering. I was building something within myself. But not all days were good. There were days when I would feel so low that I didn't want to do anything. I would cry, sitting on the kitchen floor, feeling like a failure. My parents would try to comfort me, saying, "You are doing great, Anushka. Don't give up." And I would look at them, wondering if I had made the right decision by delaying marriage. But every time doubt crept in, I went back to the Gita. Krishna's words reminded me to keep moving forward, even if the path seemed impossible. I remember once, while walking back from the temple, an auntie from the village stopped me and said, "You think you'll learn English in a year? You'll see when the year's over. They'll marry you off anyway." That hit me hard. But I smiled and walked away. I couldn't let her words define me. Chapter 6. The Turning Point. One day, after months of practice, something clicked. I was in the market buying vegetables, and for the first time I spoke in English without stuttering. The shopkeeper didn't speak English, but that didn't matter. I realized that fluency wasn't just about perfect grammar or accent. It was about confidence. And I had finally found mine. Slowly, the abusive words from relatives didn't matter anymore. I stopped caring about what others thought. My English improved day by day, and so did my self-belief. Chapter 7. Love and Heartbreak. Amidst all these changes, I also experienced love. I met a boy named Rohan at a local gathering. He was charming, with a smile that could light up the room. We began to talk, and soon we were inseparable. Rohan was supportive of my dreams. He encouraged me to pursue my English learning and would often sit with me to practice conversations. However, as the months passed, The pressures of our families and the expectations of society started creeping in. Rohan's parents wanted him to marry someone from a more affluent family, and my relatives were constantly pushing me towards arranged marriage. We tried to make it work, but the weight of the world began to tear us apart. One evening, after a long discussion, we both knew it was time to part ways. We sat on a bench under the old banyan tree, the very place where we first met. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I told him, "Maybe this is the best decision for both of us." He nodded, looking just as heartbroken. It was one of the most emotional moments of my life, saying goodbye to someone who had supported me during my struggles. After the breakup, I found myself lost. I spent days reflecting on my journey, feeling a mix of sadness and relief. I took long walks in the fields, talking to God and pondering my next steps. It was during one of those walks that I decided to channel my emotions into something positive. I started writing down my thoughts, creating a journal where I expressed my fears, hopes, and dreams. That's when I realized life wasn't just about love. It was about growth. I turned my heartbreak into motivation. I would sit in my room for hours, practicing English and pouring my feelings into words. Writing became a way for me to heal, to express myself without fear of judgment. Chapter 8. Embracing change. As I grew more confident in my abilities, I started volunteering at the village school, teaching younger kids basic English. It was heartwarming to see their eyes light up when they understood a new word. Teaching became a passion, and I realized that I was not only helping them but also reinforcing my own knowledge. Every time a child raised their hand and smiled when they grasped a concept, it filled my heart with joy. One afternoon, while I was explaining the difference between he and she, I noticed a little girl named Pooja sitting quietly in the back, her head down. I gently walked over and asked her, "Pooja, do you want to try?" She looked up with big, teary eyes and whispered, "I'm scared." I knelt down beside her and said, "It's okay to be scared. I was scared too once. Just try your best." With encouragement, she stood up and tried her best to answer. When she finally got it right, her face lit up like the sun breaking through the clouds. "I did it, Anushka," she exclaimed. In that moment, I realized that teaching was not just about imparting knowledge. It was about building confidence and fostering dreams. Chapter 9. The Power of Community. Word about my English classes spread throughout the village. Soon, parents began approaching me, asking if I could help their children learn English. It felt incredible to see the change in my community, a community that once doubted my abilities. I was gaining respect not just as a teacher but as a person who was making a difference. One evening, a group of mothers came to me after class, bringing samosas and chai to celebrate our progress. They thanked me for my efforts and expressed how much their children enjoyed learning. I felt overwhelmed with gratitude and joy. I realized that the power of community support can be transformative. It was a stark contrast to the negative comments from my relatives. As I juggled teaching, learning, and self-care, I learned the importance of balance. I made sure to dedicate time to my personal development, still practicing yoga and meditating every morning. However, I also recognized the value of taking breaks. There were moments when I felt overwhelmed, and I knew I had to listen to my body and mind. One weekend, I decided to take a break from my usual routine and join a friend for a nature retreat outside the village. Surrounded by trees, mountains, and fresh air, I felt rejuvenated. We spent hours talking about life, our dreams, and how we could support one another. It was refreshing to step away from responsibilities and simply be in the moment. Chapter 10. Reconnecting with my roots. During this retreat, I reconnected with my love for nature. I spent time observing birds, butterflies, and flowers, appreciating the beauty around me. I realized that life is a balance of work and play, and reconnecting with my roots brought a sense of peace that I had been missing. I started incorporating nature walks into my routine, which helped me clear my mind and think more creatively. One evening, while walking along a riverbank, I stumbled upon an old man painting the sunset. Intrigued, I approached him and started a conversation. His name was Dadaji, and he shared stories of his life, filled with struggles and triumphs. "Life is like this river," he said. "It flows, sometimes gently, sometimes with great force. You must learn to flow with it." His wisdom struck a chord with me, reinforcing the idea that life's challenges are simply part of the journey. Chapter 11. The Unexpected Challenge. As I continued my journey, I faced a significant challenge. My parents, while supportive, began to worry about my future. They still received pressure from relatives, and the topic of marriage resurfaced. My mother approached me one day, her eyes filled with concern. "Anushka, we are proud of you, but you need to think about your future. What if you remain single forever?" Her words weighed heavily on my heart. I understood her fears, but I wasn't ready to give up on my dreams just yet. I assured her, "Mama, I will find a way. I'm working hard, and I believe that if I focus on my goals, the right path will unfold." I promised her that I would consider marriage after achieving fluency in English, but until then, I needed her support. Chapter 12. Discovering New Opportunities. After months of hard work and dedication, I finally reached a level of fluency that I was proud of. I started to think about how I could use my skills beyond teaching in the village. One day, I came across an advertisement for a local English-speaking competition. The winner would receive a scholarship to an English-speaking institute in a nearby city. With excitement bubbling inside me, I decided to participate. It was a chance to challenge myself and showcase my journey. I spent days preparing, practicing in front of a mirror, and writing speeches about my experiences. On the day of the competition, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. As I stood in front of the audience, I remembered all the struggles I had faced, and I spoke from the heart. I shared my journey of learning English, the support of my family, the inspiration I found in the Bhagavad Gita, and the joy of teaching others. Chapter 13. The Competition Day. As I finished my speech, I could see the audience nodding, some even wiping tears from their eyes. I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me. Regardless of the outcome, I had shared my story, and it felt liberating. When the results were announced, I was overjoyed to hear my name called as the winner. It was a validation of all my hard work and determination. The scholarship opened up a whole new world for me. I would have the chance to learn from experienced teachers, gain exposure, and make connections beyond my village. Chapter 14. Moving to the City. Moving to the city was both thrilling and intimidating. As I settled into my new environment, I faced cultural shocks, bustling crowds, and a faster pace of life. I remember my first day at the institute, feeling overwhelmed by the number of students and the intensity of the classes. But I reminded myself of my journey. Every day I practiced English with my classmates, engaged in conversations, and participated in various activities. I also discovered a supportive community of learners, all sharing similar goals. We encouraged each other, celebrated victories, and worked through challenges together. In the city, I also encountered different backgrounds and cultures. I met people from various states, each with unique stories and experiences. One of my close friends was Neha, a girl from Mumbai who shared her own struggles with language learning. We bonded over late-night study sessions, sharing snacks and laughter. I also explored the city during weekends, visiting museums, parks, and local markets. Each experience expanded my horizons and enriched my understanding of the world. I learned that language was not just a tool for communication. It was a bridge connecting people. Chapter 15. A chance encounter. During my time in the city, I also crossed paths with Karen, a fellow student with an infectious smile and a passion for English literature. We became friends, and soon our conversations turned into something deeper. Karen encouraged me to pursue writing, suggesting I start a blog to share my journey. At first, I hesitated, fearing judgment, but with Karen's support, I decided to take the plunge. I created a blog called Anushka's Journey, where I documented my experiences, challenges, and triumphs in learning English. To my surprise, people began to resonate with my story. I received messages from readers sharing their struggles and thanking me for inspiring them. However, as my confidence grew, so did the challenges. I faced moments of self-doubt, questioning if I was good enough to share my voice. But I remembered the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. I pushed through those doubts, reminding myself of the little girl who once sat alone in her room, dreaming of a better future. As my blog gained traction, I also received invitations to speak at events and workshops. The idea of speaking in front of an audience terrified me at first. But I learned that fear is natural. It's what you do despite the fear that matters. I began sharing my story publicly, inspiring others with my journey of resilience. Chapter 16. The Power of Language. As I continued to grow and develop my English skills, I discovered the true power of language. It allowed me to connect with people from all walks of life and share my experiences with a broader audience. I realized that English was not just a language. It was a key that opened doors to new opportunities. Through my blog, I began to receive requests from people asking for tips on learning English. I started creating content, sharing my methods, resources, and insights. I also incorporated lessons from the Bhagavad Gita, blending language learning with personal growth. With my newfound success, I wanted to give back to my village. I started an initiative to help young girls learn English, empowering them to break free from societal norms and pursue their dreams. I organized workshops, inviting experienced speakers and educators to inspire the next generation. I was thrilled to see the transformation in these girls. They were no longer just dreaming. They were actively pursuing their goals. As the initiative to help young girls in my village took off, I felt a deep sense of responsibility to ensure it was successful. I organized a series of workshops that would not only teach English but also instill confidence, resilience, and self-belief. I reached out to local organizations, securing volunteers and resources to support our cause. One evening, while preparing for the workshop, I reflected on my own journey, the struggles, the fears, and the breakthroughs. I realized that I needed to share my story more broadly to inspire the girls. I decided to incorporate storytelling into our sessions, using my experiences to illustrate the importance of perseverance and belief in oneself. The first workshop was held in the village community center, and I invited girls from surrounding villages. As I stood in front of the room filled with eager faces, I shared my journey from a timid girl to someone who had found her voice. I spoke about my struggles with English, the discouragement from family, and how I overcame them through hard work and dedication. To foster a sense of community, I introduced a buddy system where each girl would pair up with another to practice speaking English and support each other's growth. This idea was met with enthusiasm, and soon the room was filled with laughter and chatter. One of the girls, Sita, shared her own story. She had a dream of becoming a nurse but had been told by many that it was unrealistic for someone from a small village. As she spoke, I could see the passion in her eyes. I encouraged her to focus on her dream, reminding her that every great journey begins with a single step. Together, we brainstormed ways for her to start preparing for nursing school, including finding resources to study science and health. After several weeks of workshops, we decided to host a celebration of learning event. We invited parents, community leaders, and local media to showcase the girls' progress. The event included skits, speeches, and poetry readings, all in English. I felt a surge of pride as I watched the girls take the stage, their faces glowing with confidence as they spoke in front of the crowd. The highlight of the evening was when Sita stood up to share her journey. She spoke passionately about her dream and how the workshop had empowered her to pursue it. The audience erupted in applause, and tears filled my eyes. It was a moment of validation for all of us, showcasing the power of community support and the strength of young women chasing their dreams. Chapter 17. The Ripple Effect. The success of the celebration caught the attention of local media, leading to coverage in a popular newspaper. The article highlighted our initiative, drawing attention to the importance of education for girls in rural areas. This newfound visibility attracted donations and support from organizations that wanted to contribute to our cause. With this support, we expanded our program to include not only English lessons but also computer literacy and life skills training. We organized sessions on topics like financial literacy, health education, and personal development, creating a well-rounded program that empowered girls to take charge of their futures. While the initiative flourished, my personal life took an unexpected turn. Karen, my close friend and confidant, confessed his feelings for me during one of our late-night study sessions. I was taken aback, unsure of how to respond. Our friendship had become a source of strength for both of us, and I didn't want to jeopardize it. Over the next few weeks, I found myself contemplating our relationship. Karen was supportive, kind, and shared my passion for education and personal growth. Yet, the fear of romantic entanglements loomed over me. I had witnessed the pain of relationships from my past, especially with Rohan. Would I be able to open my heart again? Chapter 18. Confronting the Past. To gain clarity, I decided to confront my feelings about Rohan. I hadn't spoken to him since our breakup, but the emotional scars still lingered. One day I reached out to him, hoping for closure. We met at a cafe in the city, and as I sat across from him, memories flooded back. The laughter, the dreams, and ultimately the heartbreak. Rohan looked different, more mature, and there was an air of regret in his demeanor. As we talked, I realized that he had also been struggling with his own issues, feeling lost after our breakup. We shared our perspectives, and I was surprised to discover that he had grown to appreciate our time together despite the pain. "I'm sorry for how things ended, Anushka," he said, his voice soft. "I was scared and I didn't handle it well. I've been working on myself." That conversation brought a wave of relief. I realized that I had held on to resentment, but it was time to let it go. We parted ways with a sense of closure, and for the first time I felt free from the weight of the past. Returning to my life, I found myself more open to exploring my feelings for Karen. I began to see him not just as a friend but as someone who truly understood me. One evening, as we strolled through the vibrant streets of the city, I took a leap of faith. "Karen, I've been thinking about us." I started, my heart racing. He smiled, his eyes sparkling with hope. "I've been hoping you'd say that." Chapter 19. Blossoming Love. As we began dating, I discovered a new layer of support and understanding in our relationship. Karen was my partner in every sense, celebrating my successes, helping me navigate challenges, and always encouraging my aspirations. We attended workshops together, explored new cultures, and laughed over countless cups of coffee. With Karen by my side, I felt inspired to take our initiative to the next level. We began collaborating on workshops that combined English learning with creative expression, such as art and drama. The girls loved it, and we witnessed their creativity blossom alongside their language skills. Chapter 20. A defining moment. One day, during a workshop, we invited a successful entrepreneur from the city to speak about her journey. She shared her story of resilience and how she built her business from scratch. The girls were captivated by her words, and afterward, many approached her with questions. Witnessing their curiosity and ambition reignited my passion for empowering young women. I decided to organize a Women Empowerment Summit, where we would invite successful women from various fields to share their stories and insights. The summit would serve as a platform for inspiration and networking for the girls. Chapter 21. Planning the Summit. As we began planning the summit, Karen and I worked tirelessly. We reached out to speakers, organized logistics, and promoted the event through social media. I could feel the excitement building in our village, and soon, girls from neighboring areas expressed their interest in attending. Weeks passed, and the day of the summit arrived. The community center buzzed with energy, filled with colorful decorations and the sounds of laughter. As the speakers shared their journeys, I watched the girls' eyes widen in admiration. It was a powerful moment, a culmination of dreams, aspirations, and the strength of sisterhood. Chapter 22. The Summit's Impact. The summit was a resounding success. The girls networked with the speakers, asking questions and sharing their own dreams. Many of them expressed newfound confidence in pursuing their passions. I felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing that we had created a space for them to believe in themselves. After the event, I received messages from parents expressing their gratitude. They saw a change in their daughters, more motivated, confident, and determined to chase their dreams. It was a reminder of why I started this journey in the first place. With the momentum of the summit, I began receiving invitations to speak at various events in the city. It was an opportunity to share my story beyond the village. I felt both excited and nervous. Each time I took the stage, I reminded myself of the little girl who once doubted her abilities. Karen was my biggest supporter, attending every event with me. He encouraged me to embrace the opportunities, reminding me that my voice mattered. Together, we ventured into new territories, collaborating on projects that promoted education and empowerment. Chapter 23. Expanding Horizons. As I gained recognition, I also had the chance to travel for workshops and conferences. One such opportunity took me to a women's leadership conference in a neighboring city. Surrounded by inspiring women from various backgrounds, I felt invigorated. During the conference, I participated in discussions about leadership, entrepreneurship, and social impact. I realized that my journey was just beginning. I had a voice that could inspire change, and I was determined to use it. Karen and I continued to grow together, both personally and professionally. We decided to launch a joint initiative focused on women's empowerment through education. We envisioned a program that not only taught English but also provided mentorship and resources for women to pursue their passions. We gathered a team of volunteers and began laying the foundation for our initiative. It was a lot of work, but our shared vision kept us motivated. Late nights were spent brainstorming ideas, planning workshops, and reaching out to potential partners. Chapter 24. A New Direction. Amidst my doubts about the initiative and my own capabilities, I began to feel a longing for creative expression. One evening, as I was scrolling through social media, I stumbled upon a video from a YouTuber who was sharing her experiences of travel, culture, and personal growth. As I watched, an idea sparked within me. What if I started my own YouTube channel? The thought excited me. I envisioned a platform where I could share my journey, not only about language learning and empowerment but also about the vibrant culture of my village and the inspiring stories of the girls we were helping. It would be a way to reach a broader audience and, perhaps, even inspire others to support similar initiatives. Chapter 25. Planning my channel. That night I couldn't sleep. Ideas flowed through my mind like a rushing river. I grabbed my notebook and began jotting down potential video topics. English learning tips, interviews with the girls, cooking traditional recipes, and exploring local customs. The possibilities were endless. Karen noticed my enthusiasm and asked about my plans. I shared my vision with him and his eyes lit up. "That sounds amazing, Anushka. I think you should go for it. You have a powerful story to tell, and it could reach so many people," he encouraged. With his support, I decided to set a timeline for launching the channel. I would spend a month preparing content, learning about video production, and creating a consistent brand. Chapter 26. Getting started. The first step was to gather equipment. I bought a simple camera and learned how to edit videos using free software online. There was a steep learning curve, but I was determined. I spent hours watching tutorials, experimenting with different styles, and practicing my speaking skills. I also reached out to the girls in my initiative, inviting them to participate in my videos. Their stories were inspiring, and I wanted to highlight their journeys alongside mine. They were excited about the opportunity, and we began brainstorming video ideas together. Chapter 27: Launch Day. After weeks of preparation, the day finally arrived. I uploaded my first video titled "Welcome to My Journey: Empowering Girls Through Education." My heart raced as I hit the publish button. I shared the link on social media, encouraging friends, family, and my community to check it out. To my surprise, the video gained traction quickly. Friends and family supported me by sharing it with their networks. I received comments and messages of encouragement, which fueled my passion further. It felt exhilarating to know that my voice was reaching people. Over the next few weeks, I uploaded videos regularly. Each one focused on different aspects of my life: language learning, cultural experiences, and interviews with the girls from the initiative. I even included fun segments like cooking tutorials for traditional dishes, which became a hit among my viewers. As my channel grew, so did my community. I began receiving comments from viewers expressing admiration for the girls and sharing their own stories of overcoming obstacles. It was heartwarming to connect with people from all walks of life who resonated with our mission. While I enjoyed creating content, I soon realized that managing a YouTube channel came with its challenges. Balancing the initiative, my personal life, and video production was overwhelming at times. There were days when I felt burnt out, questioning whether I could keep up the momentum. Karen noticed my struggles and suggested we set aside specific times each week for video planning and shooting. "Let's make it a fun activity," he proposed. "We can turn it into a date night, working together on the channel." I loved the idea, and it helped ease the pressure I was feeling. Chapter 29: Collaborations and Growth. As my channel gained popularity, I started receiving messages from other content creators interested in collaborating. One of the most exciting opportunities was with a fellow YouTuber who focused on travel and cultural experiences. We decided to collaborate on a video that showcased the beauty of my village and the work we were doing with the girls. Filming the collaboration was a blast. We explored local markets, shared stories about our cultures, and even included some of the girls in the video. Their laughter and excitement were contagious, and it was rewarding to see them shine on camera. The collaboration led to a surge in subscribers, and soon my channel reached over 10,000 followers. I was amazed at how quickly it grew, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose in my work. With my channel flourishing, I decided to use it as a platform to raise awareness for girls' education in rural areas. I organized a fundraising campaign through my channel, encouraging viewers to contribute to our initiative. I shared stories of the girls, their aspirations, and how education was changing their lives. The response was incredible. Many viewers not only donated but also reached out to share ideas for further collaborations and ways to support our cause. It was heartening to witness how one small idea could create a ripple effect of positivity and change. One day, I received an email from a prominent organization dedicated to women's empowerment. They expressed interest in featuring my channel in their upcoming campaign. I couldn't believe it. This was a golden opportunity to reach even more people and spread awareness about our initiative. I agreed to collaborate and was invited to speak at their annual conference. As I prepared my presentation, I felt a mix of excitement and nerves. This was my chance to share our story on a larger platform. Chapter 30: The Conference Experience. The day of the conference arrived, and I stood before a large audience filled with passionate individuals committed to empowering women. I spoke about my journey, the initiative, and the impact of education on girls' lives. I shared the stories of Sita and other girls who had transformed through our program. After my speech, I received a standing ovation. The applause echoed in my ears, and I felt a sense of accomplishment wash over me. It was a moment of validation for all the hard work I had put in. I was not just telling my story. I was inspiring others to take action. Following the conference, I was approached by several organizations interested in collaborating on projects focused on women's education. This opened up new avenues for our initiative, allowing us to expand our reach and impact even more lives. Karen and I brainstormed how to incorporate these new partnerships into our channel. We decided to document our journey of collaboration, sharing behind-the-scenes footage of meetings, planning sessions, and community events. This added a new layer to our content and engaged our audience in meaningful ways. As my channel continued to grow, I received messages from viewers expressing how much they appreciated my authenticity. Many shared their own stories of overcoming challenges, and I was touched by the connections I was forming with my audience. One day, a viewer reached out to me with a heartfelt message. She had faced significant obstacles in her life but found hope through my videos. Her story reminded me of the importance of vulnerability and how sharing our journeys could inspire others. Chapter 32. Embracing Vulnerability. Inspired by her message, I decided to create a series of videos focused on vulnerability and resilience. I invited viewers to share their stories and created a safe space for them to express themselves. The response was overwhelming, and soon we had a community of support, uplifting one another through shared experiences. These videos became some of the most popular on my channel, demonstrating the power of storytelling and connection. Each week, I featured a new story, highlighting the strength and courage of individuals who had overcome adversity. As I look back on this incredible journey, I realize how much I have grown, not only as a creator but also as a person. The experiences I've had, the people I've met, and the stories I've shared have shaped me into someone who is passionate about making a difference. Karen and I continue to work together on the channel and our initiative, fueling each other's dreams and aspirations. Together, we have created a legacy of empowerment and inspiration for young girls and women everywhere. The journey is far from over. With each new video, each new story, and each new collaboration, I am reminded of the incredible impact we can have on the world when we share our voices and support one another. As I look forward to the future, I know that we are just getting started. Vocabulary list. 1. Initiative, a new plan or process to achieve something. 2. Empowerment, the process of becoming stronger and more confident. 3. Resilience, the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. 4. Vulnerability, the state of being open to emotional harm, the quality of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed. 5. Collaboration, the act of working together to produce or create something. 6. Authenticity, the quality of being genuine or real. This story reflects themes of personal growth, empowerment, and community support, showcasing the journey of a woman who learns to embrace her voice while inspiring others to do the same.